I guess I'll talk like this. This is probably better. Okay. So what's... Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So, what's up, guys? So, if you guys have been around Twitch or anything like that recently, you'd know that Valorant is the newest trend sort of game right now. And basically, I don't know, this video will be my sort of opinion on the longevity of this game, and I've pretty much written a script here that I'm going to go through and read. I don't know how long it's going to take, probably roughly 10 to 15 minutes, so yeah, let's go ahead and check this out. So I say right here, is Valorant a shoe-in for the next big esport? So, Valorant is the newest competitive team game out. The gameplay is most comparable to CSGO, but with character abilities similar to Overwatch. There's 5 players on each team. It's search and destroy. At least that's what Call of Duty would call it. But yeah, basically, the formula for this type of game has existed for a long time. And so why should you care about Valorant? And there's pretty much only one reason anyone has, which is that it's Riot Games, and of course they have money. That's why you should care. And yeah, this game fundamentally shouldn't impress any of you if you've been gaming for a long time. Nothing really new is brought to the table. It's pretty much just recycled concepts from past games. There's really I suppose you can only describe the game by using adjectives of other games. So like, oh, what is Valorant like? And instead of explaining it, you say, oh, it's like CSGO, it's like Overwatch. Like, that's usually not a good sign. But anyway, so I say, arguably, that a game can be great even with these recycled concepts. It's not that the concepts make it bad, it's just the fact that who asked for this? Why would you want a game that's concepts that have already existed and pretty much rip them? It's not like to say, oh, it's part of the genre. It's like, no, the game is pretty much exactly the same. There's no, I mean, it's not obvious, let's just say, the difference. So, for me personally, I was kind of hoping for another game like Rocket League. Not like Riot would make something like that, but games where the concept is really weird and that no player has a distinct advantage on the first day of the game's launch. And so, if you get on Valorant, don't expect to be on a level playing field this early on. Since it plays so similar to other comp games, those players will effectively have thousands of hours of experience on a game that just came out last week. And I don't say this as a valid reason not to play the game. Look at Fortnite. All of my friends that play Fortnite agree that once the game became too serious and the skill gap widened to a point where you need to play the game for at least a couple of hours a day to have the same skill as the rest of the field, the game sort of becomes uninteresting, because essentially you shouldn't have to make up ground on a game due to players that just play marginally more than you, or like tens of hours more than you a week. So it kind of, yeah. And so even Epic Games took note of this and implemented skill-based matchmaking and even bots to try to remedy the problem. If you're a total noob at a game, you still understand, I would hope, that winning against bots and cherry-picked opponents doesn't really feel good. I mean, maybe that's just a personal opinion, but everyone that I talk to about it feels the same way. And of course, make fun of us all you want. Like, oh wow, well, I don't face bots because, I'm too good. And yeah, but everyone else who isn't in the top, 5 percentile of the game is going to be facing fake opponents pretty much the entire time. And even the skill players are going to be facing, only skill players. So it kind of just makes the game too sweaty for even the sweaty players. So I should make this clear, and I should say that I don't think Epic Games is the reason for this happening. They didn't predict, obviously, that Fortnite would evolve to the way it is, and how big the contrast is between a pro and a normal gamer. Like, a normal gamer should be within a certain range of skills, right? Like, you design a game to where all players can have the same, like, basic fundamental experience, and it's not too hard or too easy for any player. So, for instance, look at Nintendo games like Zelda and Mario. I get that it's not the same when it's competitive and you can't control the player base, but the idea, though, is to make a game that has a certain level of challenge to which anyone who plays it, regardless of age or skill level, can still enjoy the challenge and get through the game. Like Super Mario World, for instance, is a game where anyone can play it, and it's still, you're not just going to breeze through the game if you're an adult and like a very skilled player. It's still going to be relatively difficult. You're going to die a few times. And so it's still interesting. It's still not super easy. So, yeah, basically it was only a matter of time before the players essentially ruined their own game. I mean, the Fortnite community basically being as good as it is, and as popular as it was, oversaturated the skill of the game. So anyway, back to Valorant. If any other company made a game like this with no reputation or on a worse budget, it would not take off, like, at all. It wouldn't be anywhere near as popular as Valorant. And so, let's do a little would you rather. Would you rather have a game that is just like Halo and Portal had a baby, or CSGO with character abilities? And maybe I'm not reading the room very well, but I would guess more people would want Halo mixed with Portal. Regardless, that exists, but guess how many people really care? Pretty much no one. The game is called Splitgate, and I personally find the gameplay fun. I need to read this like it's not so much of a script, but just kind of like fruitfully. I'm not really used to this type of thing, but so yeah, it's not that I don't find the gameplay fun. Most games are fun. That's kind of the entire point, but it has to be a lot more than fun to keep people, playing the game. And so, what can Riot do that the Splitgate team doesn't do? Well, they can put millions of dollars on the line, and now all of a sudden, the CSGO with character abilities sounds a lot better, just because of the money. So, just the sheer prospect or hope of becoming a professional streamer or gamer whenever a new game hits is like enough to allure like millions and millions of players. But how quick would that last? Or should I say, how quick would that die out? Splitgate, for instance, didn't last long. At the time of recording this, the category on Twitch has 24 viewers. I'll update it live again at the time of recording the actual voiceover, but yeah, I'm assuming it's not much better than that. And keep in mind, this game was not totally under the radar. It was played by Nate Hill, it was played by XQC, it was played by Dr. Disrespect. There's plenty of big like talent playing the game that had hundreds of thousands of viewers, but yet the game is dead. So fundamentally, the problem with Splitgate and Valorant is that they don't add anything new to the table. And so I think Valorant is like Splitgate, but just on a bigger scale with more money. It's an esport hopeful from conception. It bites all major game mechanics from other popular games and gets streamers to check it out. But the difference between Splitgate and Valorant is that it has millions of dollars attached to, the Riot name. And so an obvious disclaimer, if you guys didn't understand this from watching my terrible gameplay, I've never played CSGO or Overwatch, but I've watched them both. And yeah, basically a big sort of I guess drawing point to games like CSGO or PUBG is they're easy to watch and understand, so that even if you're like brand new, you still have some semblance of what's going on. Versus Overwatch is pretty much just a complete clusterfuck. Like if you're trying to watch that and you haven't ever played before, it's pretty much impossible to follow. And don't get here in the comments with your 200 IQ and say, wow, you don't understand Overwatch, like how stupid are you? But let's be real, as far as perspective is concerned, CSGO is a much easier game to watch than Overwatch. I'm not the only one that shares this opinion.
Look at this. Ready? Whoa, yeah, whoa! I'm on TBS watching the E-League, Overwatch League. I'm a brand new person. I really know what's going on. This is really fun to watch. F***ing, it's terrible!
And that's not to say that the game is bad necessarily, but it's to say that the viewership is a huge part of what makes something popular. For instance, chess. Chess is way too hard to understand and watch without knowing the rules and truly understanding the gameplay taking place. But football and soccer, easy to watch. The goal is simple, but can be analyzed and appreciated by more experienced viewers, which like broadens the audience. It's not to say that those games are inherently better than chess. That's a matter of opinion, but it's the fact that no one wants to watch chess. And so the video game parallel of chess would be Clash Royale, right? Clash Royale, if you've never played it, is a mobile game that is somewhat chess-like, and it's very fun and interesting if you actually play the game. But admittedly, even though I do love Clash Royale, it's a very terribly, like, it's not an esport game. It's not fun to watch if you don't know what's going on. That's something it doesn't really have control over, I guess. It was never meant to be what it is now, but still, like, yeah, you can't just tune into Clash Royale and like what's going on. And the football parallel would be PUBG. One very simple goal, to be the last man standing, but the strategies that go into making the goal are rewarding to watch as a more experienced viewer. So, yeah. And speaking of viewers, for the past week, Valorant has had roughly 1 million concurrent viewers on Twitch. This is, if you didn't know, the genius marketing ploy that in order to get your hands on the game, you must watch with a Riot account linked and hope to gain access to the beta. I have no problem with this as a means of getting beta access. I only bring this up to say the numbers you're seeing are very heavily inflated due to the nature of drops. Once the drops go away, yeah, we'll see what the real numbers are. I suspect Valorant to be popular amongst Overwatch players, much like the Smash community, and I expect CSGO crowd to act like the Melee crowd, complete loyalists. They're not going to switch from CSGO to Valorant. And the Overwatch crowd, much like Smash Ultimate, and jump ship. And so my personal opinion, based on having just played 3 matches, obviously the recording you're seeing is my first match, but I played 2 or 3 more after that. I've won every single one, surprisingly. And yeah, it seems pretty polished, even though it's supposedly in beta. And I think that it can definitely stand on its own as a game, but it's definitely the players who made the game, and perhaps like this particular mix of titles is what people wanted, and just not me personally. And I don't hate the game. I do want to see it popular. It's always cool regardless when a new game is the #1 game on Twitch. Like, I don't mind that, even if it's a game I don't personally like. I think it's refreshing, like I said. And so, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know what your opinion is on Valorant, and whether you share the same viewpoint as me. I'm sure you don't, but we'll see. And my next video is probably going to be about something to do with this kind of concept of recycling concepts for monetary gain. I mean, and how cinema, the internet, and money all kind of tie together to make this idea that creativity is kind of dead, or that will soon like be out of novelties and entertainment. And so YouTube might just be the final like place where, I mean, even YouTube though is arguably that you can't make videos that you don't make typically, or else you're not being true to your audience. So that's why I try to vary my videos a lot. I do make Smash videos because I like Smash, but also that seems to be what you guys like the most. But I still like to change my content up because I don't want to be just Smash. Because to be fair, like, there is a finite amount of things you can talk about in Smash without going into modding and making your own things to talk about. And I don't want to copy other YouTubers that have made like tons and tons of content already. I want to add something new, I guess, to the space. And so, yeah, anyway, so I guess one thing I'd recommend to everybody watching would be to make YouTube videos, whether it be for yourself or for other people, just so kind of once you're, passed on, there's still something of you out there that's very personal, and people can know sort of how you used to think and how you used to live, I guess. I think it's pretty important to do something like that, only for, like I said, I guess personal reasons. But yeah, that's assuming YouTube and their servers persist time, but I assume they would. But anyway, this is getting rambly, I guess, to some extent. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Soft spoken, definitely different than usual. I don't really know what, I guess you would call it, octave to keep my voice in. I go like from raspy to trying to not be raspy because it sounds really weird on the mic. So like this voice versus this voice is like this one right here. Like it's a crackly. So yeah, let me know if you guys don't like that at all. I'm trying not to do that, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Definitely let me know what you think about Valorant. So I don't feel so alone in these opinions. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.